appreciate that. Thanks for your company. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight, anger outside court.
No, you got a problem, dog.
Do I give a about cops?
After a woman's bizarre kidnapping ordeal, taken at gunpoint and bundled into a boot. Big spending down the line, the recession-busting project set to make life easier for commuters. Welcome back. Our zoo's ready to reopen with a new way of getting in. The lowest ever home loan deal, what you can do to save thousands. And the flash from above, what was this green streak hurtling across our skies?
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Jane Doyle.
Good evening. There have been wild scenes outside court as 3 suspects appeared over a terrifying gunpoint kidnapping. The trio's accused of bashing a woman, then tying her up and forcing her into the boot of a car.
Storming out of the Elizabeth Magistrates Court, an accused kidnapper's son takes his rage out on our cameraman.
Do I give a about the cops?
Just do it. Do it. There you go. Get it. He just spat on me. Quick.
Spraying him with spit, he then runs for the safety of his mum's car, but 2 detectives had witnessed the entire incident.
Guy in the back seat just spat at me.
Minutes earlier, the family of another accused also spat at the media and hurled abuse.
No, you got a problem, dog. You idiot.
Here we go.
Off, dog.
We'd approached this young man to ask about the allegations his father was involved in a terrifying weekend kidnapping.
Put you in the boot, then off.
Police allege that's what his father and 2 accomplices did to a woman. These security pictures taken in the early hours of Saturday morning show a Mitsubishi backing into a driveway at Elizabeth Park. Inside, the terrified victim driving her alleged kidnapper's car.
Around 12:30, we've seen a car reversing into the house, and then that's when, after a couple of minutes, probably we heard some screaming.
He now knows what he was hearing was the victim being bundled into the boot, bashed, bound and trapped, but in a stroke of luck, she still had her phone. She managed to call police and give them vague details of her location. Officers raced to the home, freeing her and arresting her alleged attackers, 2 men aged in their 30s and 33-year-old Tuesday Thomas.
I didn't realise how serious it was, so until today I found out it was actually kidnapping.
A nightmare ordeal, police say, started earlier in the night when the victim met one of the accused at Para Hills. It's alleged she was threatened with a gun and forced to drive the car to McGaw Street, where at one point she was
line, which conveniently ties in with its electrification work. The boom gates here constantly seem to be down, especially when you're in a hurry. 26 minutes during peak periods to be exact.
So if you plan to use Torrens Road during construction, don't stress. Traffic diversions are planned.
More and more cars are going to use this busy intersection.
The crossing's a popular location for political promises. It was on Labor's election list, but the Libs give them little or no credit.
I don't count putting a name on a press release in the few months before an election to be anything more than a stunt.
Oh, infrastructure's always been sexy.
Well, that's in the eye of the beholder. The feds have listed BHP's $3 billion Olympic Dam expansion as a project to be fast-tracked. It's hardly sexy, but is undeniably crucial for the state's economic future.
We're not going to over-spruik it. We know it's a massive investment from BHP's perspective, but we think this is an incredible deposit.
Mike Smithson, 7 News.
Adelaide Zoo and Monarto will soon welcome back visitors after COVID-19 kept the gates shut for almost 90 days. But there'll be changes to the way you can buy tickets, and it's not yet known how many people will be let in.
After almost 3 long and lonely months for our zoo animals, the gates can finally reopen.
I'm quite excited, yeah.
We were looking to go today because we weren't sure when they were opening.
Given our 137-year history, it only seen 1 day of closure. It's certainly been a very, very long 90 days.
Zoos SA had been at loggerheads with the state government over the closure, arguing its venues are both outdoors. After public calls for a review, Adelaide Zoo will reopen on Monday, with Minato Safari Park on June 29.
School holidays start at the beginning of July, so perfect timing.
While social distancing will be enforced, it's not clear exactly how many patrons will be allowed inside.
Is it 300 or what's your understanding?
No, we're actually able to operate with a slightly higher number because we're outside.
The biggest change for visitors is they'll have to pre-book their tickets online, which go on sale from Wednesday.
Which will enable the zoo to track down visitors if it has to in the future. And we can reveal there'll be a few new additions, including development of the new giraffe enclosure for Kimya. But most importantly, everyone inside can't wait to see our smiling faces.
Pandas, yeah.
The otters and the...
True. Meerkats, giraffes.
All of them.
Casey Trelaw, 7 News.
Dance and fitness instructors say they're at breaking point, frustrated by a strict cap on class numbers still in place. They claim the 10-person limit's unfair and are calling for the rules to be lifted soon so they can stay in business.
During these tough times, Danielle Popes managed to keep her dance studio turning, but she says the restrictions placed on her business are far from on point.
About 90% of my students are under the age of 18 and they can dance at school, but they can't come in this room.
As COVID-19 rules continue to ease, indoor fitness class sizes remain capped at 10 participants. Yoga studio owner Terry Rose says those numbers just aren't viable.
I can't meet expenses. So opening the doors is costing me. I'm just very fortunate that my husband's able to support me behind the scenes.
Terry's one of more than 5,500 people supporting a petition asking the Premier to make a change. Many want to see class limits up to 20 or for operators to be allowed to abide by the 1 person per 4 square metre rule, like pubs, cafes and restaurants.
The fact that fitness classes in particular are being singled out is what's not fair at all.
The Premier says he's looking into the issue. It's one that's likely to be discussed when the government's transition committee meets again tomorrow.
We're very, very keen to get as many businesses in South Australia up and running as quickly as possible, but we've got to do it in a safe way.
Elise Baker, 7 News.
A drunk driver's woken up with more than just a hangover, stripped of his licence for a year after a wild ride through the western suburbs. Police say he was more than 3 times the legal limit when he crashed into a parked car and through a roundabout.
On bare rims, the Holden Calais scrapes along the esplanade at Semaphore South. The driver pulls over to inspect the damage just seconds after ploughing straight through a roundabout, blowing 3 tyres.
Very, very lucky. Very lucky. Could have been at a time where there was people walking, kids, families.
Moments earlier, the car slammed into Christina's 4-wheel drive, parked on the side of Bower Road.
We heard a loud bang crash. The whole street came out and somebody had hit the back of my car and gone.
The impact so great, the airbags went off.
The car's going to be completely totaled, which is not what you want to hear on a Monday morning.
But the driver wasn't deterred. The screeching car woke neighbours who called police at around 3 a.m. Patrols quickly swooped. A final attempt to flee with just 1 tyre was never going to end well. He was pulled over just down the road.
With blown tyres and you're still going, that's just, pretty stupid really.
The 29-year-old man from Highbury's been reported for failing to stop after a crash, drink driving and driving without due care. He's lost his licence for a year. He'll front court on a date to be set.
Everybody's actions have a reaction for the rest of us as well, so just don't do it.
Tim Yateman, 7 News.
An accused vandal's been caught in a dramatic foot chase through backyards in the western suburbs. The 30-year-old man allegedly went on a graffiti spree at Seaton before he was spotted by passing patrols. Local businesses say they're fed up with having their shop fronts defaced.
It's just so frustrating. It's so bad for our business, especially hairdressers, having to deal with graffiti everywhere.
The suspect jumped fences as he tried to evade police. A collection of spray cans was found nearby. A task force report sparked by the death of a disabled woman has been handed to the state government but won't be made public just yet. Anne-Marie Smith died in degrading, squalid conditions in April despite having an NDIS-funded carer. The Premier says the government will look at the report's recommendations and they'll be released sometime this week. Police and coronial investigations as well as a federal inquiry are underway into the shocking death. Labor's federal leaders have placed a life ban on a former minister who's had a spectacular fall from grace. It's come after the MP was sacked from Victoria's cabinet over claims of branch stacking and foul-mouthed insults aimed at colleagues.
1 minute, a state cabinet minister. The next, a branch stacking pariah.
I'll talk to you guys in the city, OK? I'm going to Parliament now.
Adam Somyurek leaves his Melbourne home to meet his boss.
He's not worthy of an opportunity to resign. He was sacked.
For this, secret recordings of Somyurek withdrawing cash. He apparently hands a party staffer a folder stuffed with $50 bills and bogus membership applications. Industrial-scale branch stacking to control the votes Labor politicians live or die on.
I say he's got more protection, he's going nowhere.
Somyurek discussing ally Anthony Byrne, a long-time leader in the Federal Intelligence and Security Committee. Also an enemy, State Women's Minister Gabrielle Williams.
She's a stupid mob.
Today he apologised for that, questioned the legality of the recordings, but said nothing on how far his reach extended.
I'm having discussions with people that are close Adelaide. He's going to protect Adelaide.
The question is, who does he need to be protected from?
The Labor Party will be a better party with the removal of this individual.
In public, Anthony Albanese threw a party for parliamentary cleaners. Then he and Labor's national executive slapped a lifetime ban on Adam Somyurek, called his conduct reprehensible and at odds with everything Labor stands for, and promised wider action in coming days. Tim Lester, 7 News.
The family of an Australian man sentenced to death in China say they're very saddened by the situation. Former TV actor Calm Gillespie was arrested 7 years ago with more than 7.5 kilograms of methamphetamine. The Prime Minister says Australia opposes the death penalty and is working to secure another outcome.
We will continue to provide Mr Gillespie with consular assistance and engage China on his case. Our thoughts are with him, his family and his loved ones.
Mr Gillespie has 10 days to appeal against the sentence. New police body cam video has revealed the final moments of a black man shot dead by a white officer. The video shows the victim involved in a polite conversation before he resisted arrest. The officer who pulled the trigger could now face a murder charge.
Through the lens of a police body camera, the final 42 minutes of Rayshard Brooks' life.
How you doing? I'm doing just fine.
After finding him asleep at the wheel at a restaurant, officers ask Rayshard to take a breath test.
I don't want to refuse anything. It's yes or no. It's completely up to you. Yes, I will.
He offers to walk home, the pair in polite conversation.
I know. You just doing your job.
Until he's placed under arrest.
All right, I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back.
A struggle on the ground. A foot chase. Then...
Oh!
I let my daughter know that her father was not coming. She said, "What do you mean my father's not coming?" And I said, "Well, he's not here anymore."
Prosecutors now considering criminal charges.
If there's a choice to be made, is between murder and felony murder.
It's just a legitimate fight. It's legitimate use of force.
Tonight, new video of George Floyd's death revealing how another officer kept bystanders from intervening.
Carl, check his pulse. Get back in the check. The man ain't moved yet.
Pleas ignored as Mr Floyd took his last breath. In the United States, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
It's our lowest home loan interest rate ever. 2.19%, and it's on offer from tonight. Lenders are racing to the bottom on interest rates, letting borrowers save tens of thousands of dollars.
In a recession, every cent counts.
So Carla Allen started asking around about better home loan deals.
I've got some really good friends and, just doing it on the internet, making a few calls.
Refinancing is on the rise and lenders are coming to the party.
Since May 1, we've seen 148 variable home loans had their rates cut.
From today, Reduce is offering a new lowest ever variable rate for owner-occupiers, 2.19%. It'll set you back over $1,000 in upfront fees, but save more than $24,000 over 5 years compared to the average rate.
We expect this to continue. We expect variable rates in particular to keep on dropping. You may see in coming weeks, lenders edging closer and closer to 2%.
The next cheapest variable rates are from Homestar and Freedom, both at 2.29%. For fixed, ING and HSBC are offering 2.09%, BCU 2.12%.
There are record low fixed rates on the table, but you've got to remember, fixing isn't for everyone.
Fixed rates provide certainty over future payments, while variable loans give flexibility and often come with more features, such as allowing early repayments or offset accounts.
Carla's now saving $150 a month.
I want to, spend my money locally at more cafes and businesses around here.
Gemma Acton, 7 News.
Remarkable rates indeed. Time to check on what's coming up in sport with Soda.
Jane, all the fallout from Showdown 48 as the Crows and Port gear up for their trip north to the Gold Coast a little bit later this week. Adelaide skipper Rory Slane still nursing a pretty decent corky, which kept him out of most of the game there. And Port's Ryan Burton, struggling with a sore knee. He looks like he could be doubtful. What about this? Local boy Carl Vitt in charge at Hindmarsh as the Reds gear up for next month's return to the A-League, which is wonderful news. They wanted someone local and he's the man at the moment.
They've got him. Thanks, Soda. Ahead on 7 News, a teacher charged with assaulting a police officer at Windsor Gardens walks free on bail. The image that cut through the hate, what the grandfather who saved an opposing protester said after the rescue. A singing superstars tribute on the anniversary of a London disaster. And later, the playful start to a crime-fighting career for Adelaide's Puppy Patrol.
7 News, brought to you by Industry Superfunds.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Mother Nature unleashes hell as our housemates compete in the most physically grueling challenge yet.
I'm in business.
And Cyclone Kieran,
I'm just gonna lie,
tries to play a risky game.
It can blow up bigger than Hiroshima.
New Big Brother, tonight 7:30 on 7.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
So what did you end up getting?
I bought a Jeep.
You bought a Jeep?
Mm-hmm. And so did over 100,000 other Australians. But for some, owning a Jeep wasn't as enjoyable as driving one, which is why Jeep have now committed to cap price servicing and more dedicated technical specialists. So every driver is looked after. What do you think of that, Michael?
I'm in.
When help is far from reach, when hope is lost in an instant, a familiar face finds you, experience reassures you, and innovation carries you. They're yours. They're Australia's Royal Flying Doctor Service.
With recent bushfires and COVID-19 changing our economic landscape, the state government has created the SA Small Business Hub with all the information business owners need to get back to business sooner. Visit business.sa.gov.au.
Australians of all ages are choosing Light and Easy. Light and Easy can even assist those on aged care home care packages. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, call us on 13 15 12.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
A 40-year-old teacher accused of trying to bite a police officer has walked free from custody on bail. It was one of 3 separate incidents involving assaults on police at the weekend.
Tala Sabri was in no mood to talk as she left the City Watch House this morning.
Try and fight the officer, Sabri, condone violence against police.
Police went to her Windsor Gardens property on Saturday. They were looking for her son, who was wanted for armed robbery. As they were searching her home, it's alleged she lashed out and tried to bite an officer. She's denying the charges. In another incident, 48-year-old William Bennett was charged with attacking police who were attempting to stop him from being run over on Anzac Highway. Footage shows officers dragging him to safety. He allegedly resisted and a scuffle broke out. The prosecutor told the court that while Bennett was being cuffed, he tried to bite one officer twice and a second officer 3 times, then spat on them. His lawyer told the court her client had bruises from head to toe as a result of the scuffle.
Talk to my lawyer.
In another weekend incident, as officers were trying to arrest a man for disorderly behaviour at Henley Beach, a woman allegedly bashed one of them over the head. The 33-year-old was charged with assaulting a prescribed emergency service worker.
I'm concerned if this happens once. Our police are out there on the beat doing a great job, especially during these COVID times.
She was given police bail. Deanna Williams, 7 News.
Out of the hate and violence that London experienced in a weekend of protests, we've also seen a sign of the best of humanity. A Black Lives Matter protester who rescued an opposing demonstrator has been called a hero, but says his only thought was to prevent the man being trampled.
While London boiled with anger and fellow Britons turned on each other, there was one moment of sanity, a black man carrying a white man to safety, away from the chaos at Waterloo Station.
It was absolute mayhem around this man, and you couldn't even see where he was. You know, I didn't see colour, I just saw a human being on the floor, possibly coming to his end.
Patrick Hutchinson and his 4 mates who watch over Black Lives Matter protesters in London believe they saved the man's life and others.
If you're not there to stop it happening, then you're almost party to it just by being there and watching it. You know, the George Floyd incident that happened in America, if those 3 other officers had done what we did and stopped the man that murdered him, things would be very different.
I do feel proud that I saved 2 lives rather than 1 life, because obviously if someone would have killed him, he would have been to prison.
Boris Johnson said what happened here was racist thuggery. Police officers called it mindless hooliganism. Things have calmed down on the streets for now, but there are calls for future demonstrations to be banned. With too few moments of humanity. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
We have new video tonight of the moment a shockwave flattened homes in China after a gas tanker blew up. The blast killed at least 19 people and injured nearly 200, including 24 who remain in a serious condition. Rescuers are still searching through destroyed homes and factories for any survivors. A virtual service has been held for the 72 people who died in the Grenfell Tower disaster 3 years ago. The speakers included Prime Minister Boris Johnson and the singer Adele.
It's still so important for us to mourn together and for us to remember that night and to reflect on that and also reflect on where we are now with that, but also to celebrate the lives that were lived.
Around 56,000 people in the UK still live in buildings with flammable cladding. Zookeepers are giving round-the-clock care to a special new arrival at the Australian Reptile Park. The Palmer wallaby Joey was abandoned by its mother. It's been named Booty, which means heart in Indigenous languages. We're told that despite its rough start to life, the youngster is now thriving. It's been a dreary start to the week with fog and all sorts of things about this morning. And Amelia, we're being told more of that stuff's on the way.
Jane, fog is about the hills tonight and it'll probably hang around for the drive-in in the morning as well. Now that, along with showers, is likely to reduce visibility on the road, so motorists are asked to take extra care. On Wednesday, that fog's possible about the city and the suburbs too. We've got a perfect setup for it. More showers are forecast tomorrow, but they should begin to clear later in the day. We'll see westerly winds drop off as well, leading to a clearer and therefore colder night. They're conditions that help that lingering moisture condense into fog. We're about halfway through the month and the West Terrace gauge has recorded just under 30 millimetres. The average for June is just over 70. We've got a good shot at adding to that rainfall total too, with another wintry weekend on the way. Of course, more on that in the forecast later. Jane.
Thanks, Amelia. Nice to have you back. Still to come on 7 News, how heart attacks could be predicted through a genetic study. Later, how you can find a bargain without even taking the time to look. A green streak from space. What caused this spectacular sight over Australia? And why low-tech toys are making a comeback.
Captain Strand, we want you to come down to Texas to build an entire station from scratch.
Okay, but I choose the firefighters. This crew can't just be good.
Have you got what it takes?
They gotta be the best.
This scene is medical, so I run the call. So you do what I say, Captain.
Have you got what it takes to fight, to rule?
Rob Lowe.
Let's show 'em what we got.
And Liv Tyler.
I think a man should have to earn his cowboy boots.
Get ready for the new action thrill ride. New 911 Lone Star on 7.
Hi guys, Courtney Ralston here. I hope you're well. Tonight I'm sharing with you my slow-cooked pork and lemongrass curry. It's going to fill your home with the most amazing aromas, and at under $5 per serve, it's a great value, flavour pack recipe for you guys to whip up at home. Here's how we do it. The first thing we need to do is just to blitz up our aromatics for the curry paste. First thing is lemongrass. And I'm just going to give the lemongrass a head start because it can be a little bit fibrous if it's not broken down. All right, next into the blender is just the remaining aromatics for our spice base. Give that a little pinch of salt. We're just going to blend this until we have a beautiful, smooth paste. We now need to fry off this paste. So this is going into the pan with the oil. All right, you just want to cook out the paste for about 2 or 3 minutes. Next ingredients, curry powder. I've got 800 grams of pork shoulder here. So this is a recipe for 4. And I've just cut it up into kind of 2 centimetre chunks. All right, some seasonings now. I've got some fish sauce going in. To offset that saltiness, I've got just a tablespoon of honey. And to slow cook the pork, we need to get some moisture in our pan. So I'm just going to put enough water to cover the pork. Pop a lid on. I don't have a lid, but I have a bowl which will do the same job. Okay, the curry has had an hour, so let's have a little peep in here. Amazing, look at that. So the potatoes are going to go in now. These are going to need around 25-30 minutes, and then I'm going to pop in the beans. All right, the perfect thing to go with this curry is some beautiful steamed rice. Bring that up to the boil. As soon as the water's evaporated, pop a lid on and let it steam for around 15 minutes. All right, we're getting close to the finishing line. I've got some coconut cream. I like it spicy. This is optional, but I'm putting on some extra green chilies over the top. A little squeeze of lime is going to add a beautiful bit of acidity and brightness to our curry. And you can top this with whatever herb you like. I love some coriander, so I'm going in with some coriander sprigs. There we have it, guys. You wouldn't find a simpler curry to make. Humble ingredients, great value for money. That is how you make my slow-cooked pork and lemongrass curry. For loads more What's for Dinner recipes, head on over to coles.com.au. I tell you what, this might not be a curry in a hurry, but some things are worth the wait. Oh yeah, that's a cracking curry.
We all know that heart disease can run in families. The question is, why? Now, an Australian study will look at whether a specific genetic variation is responsible. If the team at Monash University can isolate the gene, it would open the way for screening. That, in turn, would allow those at risk to be offered early intervention, like drug treatment or lifestyle modification. A major retailer has crunched the numbers, revealing which toys are now trending, and the results are a little surprising. The unprecedented time spent at home has sent demand for low-tech toys like jigsaw puzzles surging, and some toys from the 80s have made a comeback as parents opt for more hands-on learning over screen time.
When the chaos of corona closed classrooms, parents were left to navigate their children's education. To help keep their young minds ticking, this is what many turn to: games and toys.
Parents have now, for the first time, really been engaged with their kids' learning. Most teachers will tell you that, learning happens when you're having fun.
According to a new report from Big W, there's been a shift when it comes to playtime. More of it has seen a bigger demand for budget buys like Hot Wheels and Lego.
It can teach you that whole idea of persistence.
The retailers also noticed toys from the 80s have made a resurgence, like the Rubik's Cube. Cabbage Patch dolls and Care Bears are trending too.
Parents connecting with their kids, but from their childhood.
There's also been a clear trend to the great outdoors: bikes, trampolines and scooters.
And who didn't do a puzzle or two during lockdown? In fact, there's now a whole new generation of puzzlers, with sales of puzzles now up 225% on this time last year.
Anything that was educational in nature and anything that really kept kids entertained along with the parents.
Lots of puzzles, books, blocks for this one.
The store's much anticipated toy sale starts this week. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
A spectacular light show in Australian skies has stunned everyone who saw it and left experts searching for answers. The massive green fireball tore across WA in a display lasting long enough for people to grab their phones and record the event.
Bro, what is that?
With an ominous green glow, it streaked through the night sky, lighting up the clouds and the imaginations of those watching from the ground. The alien light show lasted longer than 30 seconds. Plenty of time for mine workers on night shift to pull out their phones and press record.
Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Holy shit.
The speed of it was just nuts. And how long it went for as well. I've never seen anything like it, so.
Experts are just as excited.
That was enormous and awesome fireball. Yeah, these events are just incredible.
It's hard to know exactly what it was, but scientists are adamant it's not space junk. They say it's either a meteor or what's called a grazing fireball. A bright meteor which enters the Earth's atmosphere and is then flung back out to space. They've been known to travel in excess of 40,000 kilometres an hour.
That it's an extraterrestrial treasure that's come from space.
Best estimates put the space rock around the size of a washing machine.
That's hectic.
The green glow suggests it's made of iron, which means if it did come crashing down somewhere in the Pilbara, finding it would be almost impossible because there's just so much iron in the rocks up there. A cosmic spectacle, seldom seen, rarely filmed, but for those who witnessed it, out of this world. Rob Scott, 7 News.
Impressive indeed. There's been more damning evidence at the Ruby Princess inquiry. After the break, why the ship sailed with a shockingly small number of COVID test swabs. Facebook's threat in the face of calls for it to pay for Australian news content. And these canine crime fighters taking their first playful steps on the beat. For your official local source of COVID-19 information and the range of support services available, go to sa.gov.au.
Go on. You know you want it.
Come home to Home and Away. Next on 7.
When the road calls, here's the very best way to answer. The BMW X3 S-Drive 20i from $69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
How long is this price for?
It's a weekly special. Like Heinz soup, a perfect winter warmer, just $1.10. Continental standard pasta and sauces or rices, only $1.05. And Continental cup of soup, 2 serves, heartwarming value, just $1. All half price.
I'm going to need a trolley.
The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
The rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Looks like members are getting free and faster deliveries with eBay Plus.
It's like the Fast and the Furious in here.
I found the Furious.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
After supporting generations with tried and trusted pain relief, we're stretching beyond the medicine cabinet. At Panadol, we're making it our mission to help more Australians focus on staying well. Together, let's rethink care.
This is how legends are made.
The legendary Toyota Supra is back. Experience the exhilaration for yourself. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
A top health official has conceded the virus-plagued Ruby Princess was allowed to sail with a woefully insufficient number of COVID test swabs on board. He agreed there should have been many more on a cruise that led to more than 650 infections and more than 20 deaths.
When Ruby Princess left Sydney on March 8, there was a chronic lack of COVID testing swabs on board and a lack of warnings from health officials about it.
Is there some reason why that wasn't done?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Should it have been done?
It should have been done.
Professor Mark Ferson agreed a lot should have been done, but wasn't by overworked colleagues.
I was concerned that my staff were already working very long hours.
He conceded the Diamond Princess disaster in Japan had shown hundreds of passengers could be infected yet show no symptoms.
There was some emerging evidence about that.
But still, with dozens showing flu-like illness and swabs yet to be tested on the Ruby, thousands disembarked.
We didn't want people to miss their connections.
Commissioner Brett Walker SC found common ground with the public health official on the criteria used to assess risk. With such little known about COVID-19's incubation period, the threat from asymptomatic passengers and with a chronic lack of swabs on board, he asked why not take even more precaution for a novel virus.
We're used to looking at patterns and deviations from those patterns, but yes, I think you're right, Commissioner.
Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Facebook has hit back at Australian government plans to make it pay for news content. The US social media giant has told consumer watchdog, the ACCC, it would rather cut news than share revenue. It's estimated Facebook and Google earn $4 billion a year from advertising here. The ACCC has until the end of July to draw up new rules to share advertising dollars. And the consumer watchdog has lost its appeal over a ruling on toilet wipes. The federal court has found that Kimberly-Clark did not mislead customers when it said its wipes were flushable. The ruling rejected the ACCC's claim that the wipes did not dissolve and could damage sewage systems. We all love to find a bargain, but what about bargains that find us? There's a new twist on getting a great deal, and you don't need to do any shopping around. Find out how it works later in 7 News. Paw Patrol training's in full swing, with SAPOL's newest and cutest recruits being put through their paces at Theberton. Our cameras were there today as 5 fumbling German Shepherd pups took their first steps on the thin blue line.
Apparently, this sort of attitude that might otherwise require a call to the cops is a good sign. Chaos is the only girl in the Fearless 5 of the class of 2020, all bred from former police dogs and then shortlisted from the litter. She pushes Cooper's buttons.
We look for things like, initially, their curiosity. Are they willing to chase a rag or a toy? How possessive they are of that toy.
Generally, only half the class will graduate. Seems Cooper doesn't want to miss out, and the more he goes rogue, the higher he rates.
We always say that what makes an average pet makes a really good police dog. So some of those traits that you look at and you think, that's a bit ordinary, they're great dogs for us.
Bandit graduated last year with his buddy Stoic, who helped with 2 overnight arrests, and you can see how. You go from cute recruit to canine cop fast. That'll be police dog Cooper ready to pounce in a matter of months. Recent history shows it's risky work. Many sport battle scars. Bandit even wears a stab-proof vest. But there's plenty of love after hours. And don't worry about the rejects that don't graduate.
We've got a comprehensive rehoming program, which is a very long list of people waiting to get their hands on one.
So by Christmas of next year, they should have their act perfected and they'll be ready to get on the beat. Tim Noonan, 7 News.
Gorgeous creatures. Now it's time for sport with Soda, and there's been plenty of fallout from what was a very big Port win in the showdown.
Yeah, they look good. Port Adelaide Crows not so well. There's some injury concerns, and of course both teams getting ready to head up to the Gold Coast for I think 2 and a bit weeks later this week. So lots to come over the next couple of days. And also coming up tonight, the Crows sweat on the fitness of skipper Rory Sloane, while Cornsey breaks down the showdown shocker. Plus, as players take a knee, Eddie Betts is again the target of a vile racist attack. And what a way to lose a golf tournament, missing a putt like this.
We love being surprised. We love acts we've never seen before. Without people like you, we have no show.
This is what I want to see when I watch America's Got Talent.
We weren't expecting that.
Does your mother know you do this?
Gotta blow us away.
It's awesome on steroids.
You blew the roof off.
New America's Got Talent, Wednesday on 7.
When the road calls, here's the very best way to answer. The BMW X3 S-Drive 20i from $69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Mate, I'm so sorry. I thought there was time. He's just pulled out. I don't have time to stop. It was a simple mistake. Please, I've got my boy in the back. I'm going too fast. I'm sorry.
Australia, there's no country like it. That's why all Mobil Synergy fuels were formulated to protect your engine from the first fill. Like a shield against rust corrosion and harmful deposits. Mobil Synergy fuels. Engine protection sorted.
Hi, it's Brendan Nottle from the Salvos. For 140 years, we've stood with Australians in crisis. Today, as we all rise to the challenge of this heartbreaking time, the Salvos are doing all they can to ease the pain and find a way through for the people hardest hit. You can play a powerful role. If you're able, please go to salvationarmy.org.au and give to the Red Shield Appeal now. Together, we can do this.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
This is Fran. Fran delivers food to those in need. With inspiring people like Fran, Origin volunteered over 9,000 working hours supporting community partners last year. Origin, powered by good energy. Plush Sofa's end of financial year sale is now on. Shop in showroom or online with up to 50% off everything and 48 months interest free.
Hello again. Well, the Crows are still sweating on Rory Sloane and his heavily corked thigh. Theo Doropoulos joins us now. Theo, he's no guarantee to tackle the Suns on the Gold Coast this week.
He isn't, Soda. Now, Coach Matthew Nicks accused all of the Crows of playing bruise-free football. Well, at least Rory's got one to show, but understandably he's still a little bit sore. Now, defender Ryan Burton had scans on a nagging knee problem earlier today. At this stage, he is expected to miss Sunday's Dockers clash. Jake Kelly's being monitored after a bit of concussion. Ben Hart will be free to resume coaching duties next Tuesday. That's after his 6-week ban. The Crows will put through a very honest review this afternoon, and they're still dealing with Coach Matthew Nicks calling the players soft.
Yeah, we're disappointed basically, and it's probably a good assessment on how things went.
Probably wasn't quite the contest everyone was looking for and was hoping for, but I think we couldn't have done much more on the night.
Skipper Jonas was still smiling at this morning's recovery run. Mitch Georgiades was also on deck and will be in the mix to tackle Fremantle. But despite being available, there's no guarantee for Ollie Wines.
He's only done the 3 contact sessions. He's great that he's now had a hit out at a really high level in tough conditions, which would have tested him out. Had a really interrupted last year. This pre-season's been interrupted as well.
Life on the Gold Coast can't come quick enough for both teams. And not surprisingly, sharing accommodation is now no longer a problem for the Power.
I would have certainly liked being going up there with a 75-point win.
Look, that's just reality. That's like walking the streets after a showdown, and I've lived and breathed that. It's certainly a good place to be.
And a bonus for players in the Queensland hub with surfing, fishing and golf now allowed, but only with members of their own teams. So after 3 months, footy's finally back, and so's Cornsey.
Let's get a grip. The Crows have played worse and had much bigger losses throughout their history. But I am concerned. It's the midfield, Matthew Nicks said, and it was. Not enough grunt to win the contest, not enough speed to spread if they did, and certainly not enough awareness and discipline to chase when their opponents had the ball. Now here's an example. When this passage of play starts, Xavier Dersma is on the wing. His opponent, Rory Atkins, one of my favourites I might add, is already trailing behind. Port power the ball forward, not with any great system. Sam Power-Pepper involved. Then Brad Ebert, who played extremely well, gets the ball to Dersma, who runs in for the easiest of goals. Where was his opponent? Now, Matthew Nicks is quite measured, but he says his team is playing bruise-free football. Now, when he says that, he's calling them soft. And that's the worst thing you can say about a footy team. They seem a long way off the pace of the better teams in 2020. It seems to me they've spent too much time on fixing morale and not enough time working on how to play footy. Less love, more war at West Lakes. It's hard not to love what I saw from Port Adelaide. What I really like is the blend of their team, the big tick for the players they've brought in from other clubs and the young players they've drafted. And now Stevie Motlop, he's been a good player and he's promised much in the past, but this just could be his year. But as good as Port were and as bad as the Crows were, it was good to have footy back and see some fans in the stands.
It certainly was, Cornsey. Let's stay with footy now, and Carlton co-captain Sam Docherty has backed teammate Eddie Betts after the Blues veteran has called a so-called footy fan who vilified him on social media, depicting him as a chimp.
Anyone that's asking a question about why we're taking a knee pre-game or why we're trying to make a difference, this is the exact reason why. Being silent hasn't worked for a number of years, so as an industry and as a footy club, we've got to stand behind our Indigenous players and make a stand.
And the AFL is changing its rules on sling tackles after Sean Burgoyne was only fined from round 3 onwards. The same incident will result in a suspension. Well, Cricket Australia boss Kevin Roberts looks set to be sacked for his handling of the financial crisis caused by COVID-19. And former Redbacks leggy Adam Zampa says bowling alongside Nathan Lyon for New South Wales will boost his test hopes.
Another spinner in the country, your best bet is to probably
try and play with Nathan. So if I can form a relationship with him and play some shield cricket with Nathan, it's probably the best way for me to get that baggy green.
Soccer and Adelaide United has confirmed Carl Veart will take charge of the team when the A-League resumes on July 16. The former Red Star now has the perfect chance to press his claims for the full-time job.
Veart spent a large part of his playing career at Hindmarsh with Adelaide City and Adelaide United. 17 years ago, he scored the Reds' first ever goal. He returned last June as Gert-Jan Verbeek's assistant.
Yeah, I feel privileged. It means a lot to me, the club. The state means a lot to me. I've, grown up for being a country boy, and to get this opportunity to coach at the elite level, I'm very proud.
He's the interim coach, but the Reds made it clear he's also a contender for the full-time job.
We'll make that decision in time, but certainly it's a fantastic opportunity for Carl to prove that he warrants the role full-time.
As it stands right now, the A-League will employ a hub model to restart its season from July 16, but with SA easing border restrictions from July 20, we could see games at Cooper Stadium. Players underwent coronavirus tests today and are expected to start training on Wednesday. Andrew Hayes, 7 News.
Well, world tennis bosses are close to making a call on whether the US Open goes ahead in New York in August. While officials debate player safety, Novak Djokovic is hosting his own exhibitions. The world number one broke down at the event in Belgrade, saying it brought back childhood memories.
I try to be conscious of my upbringing and my childhood and how it all started for me.
Djokovic says he may skip the US Open if health protocols are too strict. And the PGA Tour's first event after 13 weeks in lockdown went to a playoff in Texas, and Colin Morikawa just had to make this putt to extend it.
Jeepers creepers.
Oh, no.
What?
That handed 27-year-old Daniel Berger the Charles Schwab Challenge, his third career title. And Jane, it's okay for mere mortals like us to miss that putt, but Colin will be kicking himself. That was pretty much a gimme at his level.
Yeah, it's terrible though. It's further than it looked, I think.
No, it's not, Jane. You should have
I feel sorry for him. Thanks, Soda. Tea on Money, the ASX 200 has fallen for a third straight day. The fear of a second wave of COVID-19 is weighing heavily on the local market, with all sectors finishing lower. Our dollar was also weaker, buying 67.86 US cents. Stay with us. After the break, we'll bring you the new app that lets retailers make you an offer how you could save big.
And weather-wise, well, we could see more showers tomorrow, but don't worry. A day of sunshine is on the forecast this week too. All the details coming up next.
Experience the heart-pounding action thriller.
That's the biggest damn fire I've seen.
New 911, tonight on 7.
The streets are calling. Make sure you're ready to answer. The BMW 118i from 49,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
You're relying on our network more, so we're accelerating the rollout of Telstra 5G, giving more people and businesses access to fast download speeds in more places than ever.
One look at South Australia's CTP choices shows that SGIC wears the state colours on their sleeve. The wonders of data, eh? Choose SGIC, helping South Australians since 1972.
On behalf of frontline workers, we'd like to thank South Australians for your support. It's not why we do it, but it's nice to be appreciated. And we'd like to ask something of you.
Next time politicians tell us to make the public sector more efficient by cutting budgets and staff or privatising services,
please stand with us when we say no.
We never know what will happen in the future. So it's important our public sector is strong and never under-resourced.
Authorised SA Unions, Adelaide.
This winter, heat your home with climate and save up to $1,000 on top brands. Right now, big savings on split systems and up to $1,000 savings on ducted systems. Heat your home with Climate and save.
There's no reason to leave home this winter. Now's the time to make your home comfortable and stay in with your partner. Gasworks have everything to make your home comfortable, with heating and hot water to suit any home or budget. Gasworks, the home of comfort.
So why do we travel? Is it to relax? To check out or in? Is it to get to know someone? Everyone? To seek new thrills, chase the sun, or stop you in your tracks? So whether you choose to tread the path less trodden or take in your dream destinations, they'll be there waiting for you to rediscover. In a world standing still, let's keep dreaming and planning. And when you're ready, Phil Hoffman Travel is here for you.
The streets are calling. Make sure you're ready to answer. The BMW 118i from 49,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Go on. You know you want it. Come home to Home and Away. Next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by the BMW 3 Series.
There's a new way to shop with big savings to be made. Instead of setting time aside to go on a bargain hunt, you can simply ask the big retailers to come directly to you with their best possible prices.
Gone are the days of shoppers begging retailers for discounts on household items. Yet Steve Knapp saved hundreds off the cost of his new fridge.
I saved about $350.
The retiree had traders vying for his business on a new app called iNeeda. Customers list the items they're after and sellers bid for their business. The lowest price wins.
Typical savings from your recommended retail price between 30 and 35%, so it's delivering a lot of savings to average households.
After researching television, Sam Davey chose a 65-inch Hisense smart TV. Online, the best price was $1,395. He paid just $1,050 with free delivery.
Convenience and also some big savings, so it was very good.
He then paid $769 for a $900 wine fridge.
It completely empowers the customer. They get to choose what they want, where they want it from.
Suppliers include Telstra, The Good Guys and Harvey Norman, with thousands of appliances, phones, even utilities and flights on offer. With business booming, iNeeda will soon expand the app to include cars, boats, motorcycles, health insurance and finance. 47,000 people have already signed up to the virtual auction platform, with many using it to support local businesses. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
To the weather now, and Amelia, it looks like we'll need the brolly for another day yet.
Jane, we could still see a shower tonight and again tomorrow, but in between the wet weather today, well, a beautiful snap taken by Carol Coventry over the wharf at Goolwa. Further south, another beautiful but slightly unusual sight at Beachport as a curious pod of what looks like humpbacks came very close to the jetty this afternoon. Now, we did see patches of blue sky over the city today, but it was a grey start. Cloud cover kept us above 12 degrees overnight, and by 9 a.m, we had around 7 millimetres in the gauge. Ashton in the Hills had the most in 24 hours, recording 33, as westerlies sent showers across southern coast and the Mount Lofty ranges. Now, we've got a high pressure system to thank for those westerly winds, but we can expect to dry out in a couple of days as that high heads southeast interstate, and that same system's producing sunshine and warmer weather for Sydney and Brisbane tomorrow. Back home, it's looking fine and sunny across our northern districts. Clear skies will lead to some early frost for some, with showers a chance further south, more likely about the southern coast and the Mount Lofty ranges and the southeast as well. So Mount Gambier could see another couple of millimetres, 16's the top there, 18 for Victor Harbour and for Port Lincoln. Now, strong winds are forecast about a couple of coastal areas tomorrow, and as we've heard, fog and low cloud is expected about the hills overnight and again in the morning. In the city, down to 11 degrees. Then there's a good chance of showers again tomorrow, probably during the morning. 17's the forecast top. Out on the water, and we've got nor'westerlies to 15 knots. They should ease during the afternoon with seas up to a metre. Taking a look ahead, and Thursday's the pick of the week. Sunny with a top of 19 degrees. Then it's a case of rinse and repeat, with a front set to hit just in time for the weekend. It's looking decent, so by Saturday the temperature will drop to just 14 degrees with up to 15 millimetres tipped then. Jane.
Good on you. Thanks, Amelia. Great to have you back. Now, that's all the news to now. I'll have updates later, and we hope you have a great night here on 7. Good night.